Well, hello again. This is Buck Benny speaking. I am so excited today. We get a chance for Kathy Fuller-Seeley, who's with me, and John Henderson. We are for the very first time, going to present actual radio shows from the Jack Benny Show instead of TV shows for today. So I think I figured out how to put this on YouTube with the radio show. So we'll see if this works. If it doesn't, we'll at least have it on the podcast. So, and John, of course, is from This Day in Jack Benny.
Yep.
There he is. And Kathy is from, well, books, tons of books about Jack Benny. She's got 3 of them.
And UT.
And the Texas.
There you go.
Yes, very good. And Kathy, the classes you teach are on history, but it's with the media focus, right?
Exactly. I'm two things in one. I'm a media historian these days. Although a card-carrying historian, I love media, and I try to convince students that media history is full of fascinating stories and things that at least can be pilfered for today's productions. So,
yeah, no, I think that's wonderful. I mean, so if there was one thing I'd love to see a podcast made out of or something, it would be your lectures. I would just love to hear your lectures. Like,
very sweet. But I'd love to hear your comments and John's. I'd love to have you all be snarky about.
Podcast that is, we grab your lecture and then we make comments throughout the lecture. That'd be fun. Anyway, well, let's get started. This is the episode from was it February 23rd? Is that what we said? February 23rd, 1947. We decided to go with 1947 because this is right at the point where there's one of Jack's famous story arcs is starting, and this first one is him firing the sportsman. So that's what this episode is going to focus on. But there's so much. This episode is so rich with material that we can talk about. I just thought this is a great one to start with. Anyway, so I'll start us off by talking a little bit about Dennis's song. He sings Glockamora. And what I love about Glockamora, and I've been wanting to talk about it forever, is there's 2 things about it. I'm going to give you one, and I'm going to switch over to Kathy, and she'll tell us about the other because she's into that part of it, and so am I. I love it. I love what they do with Glockamora later on in the show. Anyway, right around this time, actually, this predates what they're going to do with Glockamora by a few months. This summer, in 47, Jack leaves the air like always, but the show that takes over for him is the Jack Paar Show, and Jack Paar is getting his first real exposure to a national audience through this show, and they are wonderful, interesting pieces to listen to. We might actually cover it, like since we're doing these, we might go into the summer and follow in with Jack Paar, or do some Jack Paar anyway. But I think it's the very first one. It's early on anyway. He has Dennis as a guest, and when he has Dennis as his guest, he has this bit, and he's got Jack's writers come over. So Jack's writers write for his show, so they, I assume, own the bit, because that bit is so amazing. Because I want to say I heard Fred do this bit, Fred Allen, years earlier. I'm not sure. And then these guys do it. This is the first time the earliest I'd heard the bit, other than maybe like I say, the Fred Allen show. But this bit is where you have you have the host and his guest, right? And they're interviewing, they're talking back and forth. And you're hearing what's inside their heads, like as an aside. So they're critiquing each other in their heads as they're talking to each other and complimenting each other. And they brought this forward and used it on Jack's show when Jack and Johnny Carson did essentially the same bit. Anyway, in this bit, it ties into Glockamora so well, because Jack Paar is going, "Oh, so Dennis, what song are you going to sing for us? We all know your singing is so wonderful and everything." And then you hear Jack's in his head saying, "Oh gosh, I hope he doesn't do Glockamora. He does Glockamora all the time. I hate that song." And then you go to Dennis, and Dennis goes, I decided I'm going to do Glockamora. And Jack Parr, you hear in Jack Parr's head go, oh no, no, not Glockamora. and then Dennis goes, because I sing that song so well, folks say I'm almost singing it like a native Glockamoron. And so and I just love that the punchline is so good. Their back and forth is so good. I'm gonna cut that section out, and after we're done talking, it'll come on before the actual episode, because I just love that bit is so good, and it's kind of buried in the Jack Parr show. And I know a lot of people haven't listened to the Jack Parr, so you get a chance to hear Jack Parr, and we'll play the whole bit for you. It's like 5 minutes or less. But it's a cute bit, and like I say, I know I gave the punchline away there, but it's just such a good punchline. I just love it. Anyway, and then Kathy, why don't you tell us more about the Glockamora and why it's important to Jack's legacy?
Well, it's an example of how good Jack Benny and his writers were at this, at the peak of their form in these years, that they so rewarded your close listening to the show. And if you were a regular listener, they could take a joke from here and continue to pop it in different ways in the shows over the months, so that the audience would laugh in recognition. Oh, we're making fun of Glockamora again, but it'd always be doing something different with it. In the same way, we're going to see Jack do his but routine in a number of ways, or wait a minute yelling in a number of ways. As I said, I really, these shows of this era delight me for the more you know and the more you listen, the more ways there are to laugh and find it funny. But one of the ways in which Glockamora, which is a song that kind of drives me nuts too, they repurpose it some number of weeks or months later when Jack is at the train station, and a character comes up to the information booth and just happens to be asking either the information or the ticket clerk, hey, how are things in Glockamora? And then the information clerk comes back with the next line, is the little brook still, rippling there? And so they turn the song into a back and forth questioning,
and it's just spoken,
that the audience recognizes, and they're just laughing like crazy.
Because all they're doing is doing the lyrics. And I've heard Elliot Lewis talk about this in his interviews, and they're delightful. If you ever get a chance to listen to any of Elliot Lewis's interviews that he's done, they're fantastic. But anyway, he talks about this bit because he does the bit. I think all the time he might, there might be an episode here or there where it's not him, but usually it's Frank Nelson and of course Elliot Lewis doing it back and forth, and all they're doing is reading the lyrics to the song. And Elliot Lewis was questioning Jack about it and saying, I don't know, Jack, is this funny? It's like, we're just saying the lyrics to the song. And he said, just do it, deadpan it, just it'll be fine. And so they do it, and the house came down, and he was like, this is why Jack Benny is one of the greatest comedy minds in the world, because I would have never thought this bit would even work. And he's got at least one of the people of the two that are doing this doesn't think it's going to work, and yet it works brilliantly. Yeah. And so he says that's one of the hardest things to do, is when one of your actors doesn't even understand what they're doing and still make them funny. And so that was great. But John, the other thing about this episode I'll throw out there too that maybe John can jump onto, this is one of the episodes that has a tremendous amount of flubs from almost every single and I always love these, and of course Jack says multiple times, one rehearsal, I just asked for us to have one rehearsal. and so it just gets, as it goes, because Don eventually makes a mistake, and then he loses it when Don makes a mistake. He's like, Don, you've been on here for 17 years and you'd never make a mistake, and you choose this episode to make a mistake, or whatever it goes on. But
and then Jack makes a mistake, and everybody, you can hear Mary laughing, you can hear everybody.
And Jack just tries to move on from his mistake, but the audience will not let it go. They're just laughing their heads off because he's just been berating everybody about making mistakes. Now, if that was Jack actually purposely making a mistake, I don't think it was, but if it was, that would have been brilliant as well, because he totally set that up. But Anyway, John, what we have the famous, this isn't like a grass reek, or it's nothing like that. They're all small mistakes, but they all add up. And this is post grass reek. This is post almost all the, I think might be post Dreer. No, it's not post Dreer Prus.
No,
That comes
that's
later.
50.
Yeah. But this again is kind of loading the audience up for the fact that we think it's funny, and we know they think it's funny when there are mistakes made, and then it makes that Dreer Prusen almost pay off more inadvertently. And that's what's lovely about these mistakes. They all build on each other, and yet they're not supposed to, but they do. And anyway, John.
Yeah, well, it's something that, as much as they might try, you can't plan,
No,
because you can always tell when somebody's faking a mistake. But these are genuine mistakes, and every time it gets funnier and funnier and builds, and it's just hilarious. And that's the great thing about having a live show, where normally you would just say, "Oh, let's just take it again," right? But to be able to play off that and have it be spontaneous is hilarious. I love this episode. It's an example, one of many examples, about how the Jack Benny show is not really formulaic, but they're willing to like totally upend the format. And he's late for the program, and I love that Phil Harris is the one entertaining, and they turn on the radio 20 minutes later and he's still singing. That's what I like.
Same song. Oh, that is such a great piece, and they built it again. They've talked about that song forever and how it is kind of an endless song, and this plays it out because he keeps on turning on the radio and freaking out. Oh, he's still playing the same song. I love it.
And this first season with the Sportsmen Quartet in particular, it's so fun to have the Sportsmen and how they're driving Jack crazy, and he's not happy with them the whole time, and they're getting paid so much money. And so to have it sort of culminate in this, where he fires them, is something that you wouldn't do normally in a show where you've hired these guys on, and you've said they're going to be this new part of our show, and then you say you're going to fire them. I think it's brilliant and hilarious and great. And I wonder, Kathy was talking about this sort of, which is when they're singing and Jack says, wait a minute, right? That's something that they do. I've definitely heard Bugs Bunny do it. And I was wondering, is Bugs Bunny ripping off Jack Benny, or is Jack Benny ripping off Bugs Bunny? I assume Bugs Bunny is ripping off Jack Benny.
He is. Partially because Mel Blanc was involved in the whole thing too. They would bring lots of bits from the Benny show over, but it would almost always originate on the Benny show and then come over to the cartoons. I don't think anything ever's come the other way.
Yeah, I mean, this episode has a cameo with Bugs Bunny, I believe.
Yes, which is very cute, and that's why this is one of those episodes where they just are hitting on every point. There's so many things to enjoy. I think this is just an absolute perfect episode for us to be starting with, because the audience, you guys are going to love this. I mean, it just is. If you take the best of whatever Jack ever becomes, his apex of his career of the right around the 47th season is sort of it. When he switches over to CBS, it's still really good and still really solid, but it feels like it's maybe just a notch down from the very top. And so I'd say this 47, 48-ish time frame is just phenomenal.
Yeah. And yet, if they were the first Jack Benny episodes you ever heard, you'd go, what the heck is this? Why are the kids, I mean, so it's so brilliant because we know so much.
Yes.
It's kind of like it took 15 years in a way for the show to be able to do this.
Well, I think if I was going to have someone start and say, where are you going to start? I probably would have them start in about 45 or maybe right when Dennis comes back from the which is, I think, is 46, because they're introducing so many new pieces. They add they do the whole Christmas shopping. They take it to a whole nother level. That's the first when they start having Mel Blanc kind of lose it and things during the episode. They're bringing on the Sportsmen. They're bringing on the violin teacher, Professor LeBlanc, all of that stuff. The vault.
The Colemans.
Yeah, the Colemans, the vault. All of those things happen like 45, 46. They're not quite all formed yet at that point. That's why 47 is so great, because everything is formed. Everything is as good as it's going to get. But to maybe hear it start to form would help you. And then when you heard the 47s, you just go, wow, this is great. Yeah. So that's where I'd tell someone to start if I was going to do it. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to mention from this episode, I'm trying to think of it was the sportsmen themselves. I'm not sure if this ties in, but I know that right after the war, some of the sportsmen went off to be in the war, and some of them were they got new members to fill in the rest of the sportsmen so they could keep on performing on radio. Well, then after the war, those folks came back and they wanted their jobs back. But at that point, they'd gotten on with Jack Benny, and they were like, you can't. Wow. I mean, this was us who got the job with Jack. It wasn't you guys. You were a different formation of this whole thing. So you can't have your spot back. And so there was a big argument about that. And so I think that was happening at the same time. They were trying to work out the kinks. So that's one of the reasons why they kind of were giving them time by firing them from the show. So they had a few weeks to figure out who was going to be the sportsman and what was going on. But I think what ended up happening is they stuck with the new sportsmen, and the old sportsmen didn't get their spots back. I think is the way it went.
The Larry, what's that poor fellow's last name? The temporary singer.
Larry Stevens.
The Larry Stevens version of the sportsman. How interesting! I did not know that story, but Laura Leibowitz refers to it in her. So thank you for corroborating that story, because it was one that I just hadn't found yet. So thank you.
Well, and Laura, over on her original website, I'm not sure if the person, I can't remember who the person, what their actual name was, but they were on her original website. They might have come over to her Facebook page. I'm not sure, but they went by the name of the Sportsman, and that guy knew everything about the Sportsman. I mean, he knew Sportsman left and right. He's one that I'd love to have on this show sometime to just talk about the Sportsman, but I don't even know how to get a hold of him or anything. But he and I are having dialogue back and forth about it, and he was explaining to me how it all worked out. And so it was really interesting to hear. And you totally could get that. You totally could get how they changed the group. They'd already been on radio on multiple others, the Judy Canova show and lots of other things. But then, of course, their big break ever was coming on Jack's show, but that's a different team that comes on Jack's show. And so they're like, well, wait a minute, this isn't fair to go backwards. And so I could totally see how the argument would happen. Well, anyway, I'm going to jump on really quick, because the other thing is that I do on our shows is we have the Jack Benny show, and then we follow it immediately with the Phil Harris show from the exact same week, the exact same time and everything. So this week's Phil Harris is famous or whatever, legendary for a lot of reasons. But one of them is Julius Abruzio, who's been pining, who we met. This is early in his appearances, but it's not his first appearance by any means. I think he's maybe appeared 4 times or 5 times anyway. He's been pining for Alice Faye, but he's always been talking to Phil. And I didn't realize that happened just because I've heard so many of the episodes. I just assumed that he'd talked to Alice, but he hadn't. At this point, he'd always talked to Phil. I think he may have bumped into Alice, but she didn't know who he was or whatever. And it was just like him being all excited about it, I think. But this is the first time he actually has dialogue with Alice. And for them to start the whole, oh, Miss Faye, I'm so glad to see you, Miss Faye, you're so beautiful, and the whole thing, it just adds another layer to the Julius Abruzio character and another layer to Alice Faye. And to have them, and they're going to forevermore have lots of dialogue together, but it's just kind of fun to have this very first episode. And this only became available like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It wasn't very long ago, for the very first time. And it's just so cool that we originally had like 100 of these episodes you could listen to, and probably a third of them in pretty bad sound. But then they started, Radio Spirits started releasing sets of these episodes, and they're so beautiful. They sound so great. And they have, I think, almost every episode of the entire series, 400 plus now, have been released, except for the first 16, or right around 16. They haven't released the new versions of those. I don't know if they didn't keep the first 16. Supposedly, the legend is this is actually Alice Faye's collection, personal collection that she and Phil had. Phil passed away, and then Alice decided, I needed somebody to preserve this, somebody to keep this, and she didn't give it. Thank goodness, it was late enough. It was 95, something like that. It was late enough that she knew, don't give it to a library somewhere. They're going to just put it away in a room and never have it out. And she didn't give it to a university. She gave it to an actual collector and probably sold it to with the stipulation that I'm going to give these to you, but you need to get them out there for the people to hear. And so he had to do, and it took him a few years to get them all out and everything, and he found a way to do it, and that's fantastic. And so got them out there. I think it was Terry Samlinson who did that. And so anyway, we have all these episodes now that people can listen to, and they're lovely, and the sets that they have over on Radio Spirits are wonderful sets, and you should buy all those. And it comes out to be like $2 an episode, which for these brilliant copies, it's so worth hearing them. And so I hope people will go and pick up the sets from them. Anyway, and this, like I say, this episode is fantastic. So I hope everyone's going to enjoy this episode. We got Zach that just chimed in, so we'll see if Zach is here yet 100%. Zach, are you there? Zach? Earth to Zach, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I was
He's here. Zach, so we're talking about the first episode. We're almost done. We just we did a round of it, but I just thought I would give you a chance to share if there's anything that you gleaned from this or wanted to share. The very first episode that we're presenting of our series of the radio shows, and this is the one where the sportsmen get fired. And so the memorable things we've talked about so far, we've talked about Glockamora and the importance of Glockamora, because Dennis sings Glockamora, but we talked about some stories about Glockamora and how they would later use it. We talked about the fact that the other thing with this episode is that it has a lot of flubs throughout it, and so it's a lot of fun for folks that love when the cast messes up. Almost everybody messes up, including Jack. And then of course the whole sportsman piece. Did you have anything that you wanted to share about this episode that ties into any of that, or anything other than that?
It really has to do with the sportsman. I mean, ultimately with the Sportsman Quartet, you're talking about, like, it's amazing that through line is as entertaining as it is. When he gets fired, you also have a lot of the reactions of, well, I've got to get I either have to get another quartet or I'm fired. And we get a slew of attempts to bridge that gap so that he doesn't have to hire back the sportsman. It's the catalyst that kicks off one of the biggest unintended flubs in Benny history, that is Bing Crosby's little snafu.
Yes.
But this also has one of the many instances of Benny over the phone, and you're only hearing his side of the conversation. And I'm sure that's already been mentioned, but
no, we didn't really get to that.
That's good.
Well,
so
good,
because take us there. What now? Was that in this episode or the next episode?
It's in this one.
It's
This one. Okay.
They sort of do a recap at the beginning of the next episode. Yeah, that's a good point. It's sort of like the origin of Bob Newhart's bits.
Yeah. And in Benny's end of the memoir, for Sunday Nights at 7, the first time I ever heard of this bit was from that book and not from the show itself, because I didn't hear that episode right away. So I was actually reading how he would do it, which is but like,
it doesn't work as well on the written page as it does out loud. Yeah.
It's funny, like, because I thought it was like intriguing when I first read that, but when I heard it, that's when I understood why the bit was good, because it goes back to that I think it was the John Crosby piece for the New York Times, where they talk about, like, we read the script, but the script is not it's not funny. It's about the way you deliver the script that's funny. So it's actually a good example of how it's not just a matter of the good writing by the big four. You also have to have the performance, and Jack is the one who understands how to make that performance work.
Well, it's like the
Zach, that's
siren
so
keys
smart.
go unwritten down is seaside, although that doesn't make that much sense. I mean, it wouldn't come across that well, but when they do it live,
Yeah.
it's like, wow.
But
Yeah.
especially network radio at the time thought blank air, dead air was the scariest thing in the whole world.
Yeah.
And that makes these jokes ever more daring. That Jack could get them laughing with dead air, the space between the butts.
Yeah, it builds up the tension and then releases it. Yeah. For sure.
Well, and this particular piece I love because this is the first time I'd heard the I part where he starts saying I, and then immediately my brain went to the song because I didn't remember that that's what they were going to play off the bit. And so I'm like, oh, that kind of reminds me of this song, you know. And then Mary starts chiming in by singing the song as he's doing the I, you know, and like caramba, and then,
Yeah.
you know, and
South America.
Caramba,
take it away.
your samba,
Yep, that's great. and a whole bit, and then this is probably this episode, the next episode, probably the best capturing of that bit where they take it to an extreme and it really pays off, and I love that. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we'll go head out to the next episode. So I think we'll stop there unless anybody has anything else about this one that they wanted to throw in there. But I think we're good. And I'm glad that Zach came and brought in a great bit that we hadn't talked about. What we should. It just shows how rich this episode is. If we accidentally leave out that huge piece, it just shows there's so many other pieces to talk about. So anyway, I hope everybody enjoys both of these episodes. Both the Jack Benny and the Phil Harris, because they're both excellent episodes, and it's wonderful to have these Phil Harrises from 47 in such beautiful sounding quality. So we're so lucky with that, and we'll see you all next time for more Jack Benny, Phil Harris, and our gang here.
The Jack Benny Program, presented by Lucky Strike. In a cigarette, it's the tobacco that counts, and year in, year out.
LSMFT.
Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Remember,
LSMFT.
Lucky Strike means fine tobacco, and fine tobacco is what counts in a cigarette.
Season after season, at market after market, independent tobacco experts, men who are right on the spot at the auctions, can see the makers of Lucky Strike consistently select and buy that fine, that light, that naturally mild tobacco.
Fine, light, naturally mild tobacco. Real Lucky Strike tobacco. Fine tobacco that means real, deep-down smoking enjoyment for you.
So smoke that smoke of fine tobacco, Lucky Strike. So round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw. American.
The Lucky Strike program starring Jack Benny with Mary Livingston, Phil Harris, Rochester, Dennis Day, and yours truly, Don Wilson. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we bring you
Wait a minute, Dante. Hold it. Jackson ain't here yet.
What?
Neither is Dennis or Livy.
Oh, my goodness, this is awful.
What do you mean, awful? The audience is going to get a break today. I've been waiting for a chance like this for months. Hit it, boys. 1, 2.
Let's go see my dear old mammy. She's frying eggs and broiling hammy, and that's what I like about the South. Now, up there you can make no mistake, where those nerves are never shaky.
Rochester.
Yes, sir.
Step on it, will you? Can't you make this car go any faster?
Boys, did you ever hear the story of the hare and the tortoise?
Yes.
Well, both of them just passed us.
What tough luck. Imagine going out to the garage and finding a flat tire. Not a bit of air in it. It was the new one, too.
It had to be the new one.
Huh?
The other three are filled with sand.
Oh, yes, I forgot. Rochester, why have you got the windshield wipers going? We have no windshield.
I know, but it keeps the steam from the radiator out of my face. Say, boss, I think we're making better time. I just caught up with the rabbit that passed us.
Rochester, don't be silly. There are no rabbits on Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah. What's up, Doc?
Well, what do you know? I guess the warm weather brought them out. Gosh, it isn't bad enough I'm late. Mary and Dennis are waiting for us to pick them up.
Boss, you should be on the air right now.
I know. Turn on the radio and see what they're doing.
Okay.
Here comes old Bob with all the news, the box-back coat and the button shoes, but all paid up with his union dues, and that's what I like about the South.
Isn't that awful?
Here
Turn
comes
it off.
Roy down.
That song is enough to make a Yankee out of Senator Claghorn. Pull over the corner, Rochester. This is where we're supposed to pick up Dennis. Mary. Oh, there's Dennis now.
Hello, Mr. Benny.
Oh, hop in, Dennis. We're late.
I know. I was home listening to the radio, and Phil was singing That's What I Like About the South.
I know.
My mother said she wished a little bit of heaven would fall from out the sky and hit him right on the head.
Well, for once in my life, I agree with your mother.
She hates you, too.
All right. Come on, Rochester. Let's go.
Oh, Jack.
Oh, hello, Mary. Hop in.
Jack, we've never been this late before. What happened?
Well, we were all ready to go to the studio. When we got to the garage, we found a flat tire. I really should have called for a taxi.
Call for a taxi? You wouldn't call for help if it had a meter on it.
First place, you read that line wrong.
I know.
Supposed to be you wouldn't call for help if it had a meter on it. I was even afraid of that today, this morning. What are you talking? I've taken you home from the studio in a cab many times.
Oh, stop bragging. It only cost 75 cents.
75 cents. The other night when I took you home, it cost me $3.50.
Well, it was your idea to go up on Mulholland Drive.
Well, don't let it go to your head, sister. I only took you up there to show you how beautiful the city looks with the lights on.
I know. When the fog rolled in, you wanted your money back.
Money back. Stop making things up.
I went up to Mulholland Drive 3 nights in a row with my girl, and oh boy, did we have fun.
Why? What did you do, kid?
We went around peeking into new Studebakers.
Dennis.
One of them had 1,800 miles on it.
That must have been a thrilling evening you had.
Say, Jack, we're so late. Do you think Don can hold the audience till we get there?
Phil is entertaining him. I wonder what he's doing now. Rochester, turn on the radio.
So listen to your boy whose hair is flaxen, loosen your tie and start relaxing. When Harris is here, who needs Jackson? Because I'm what you like about the South.
Who needs Jackson? What a hand. Turn it off.
Let's go see my...
Rochester, you can park any place now. There's the studio up ahead.
Jack, why don't you spend 15 cents and put the car in the parking lot?
Because the streets belong to the people, and I'm a people. Rochester, what's the matter with you? You just passed a good parking place over there.
I know, but that's on our right, boss. This car only turns left.
Oh, yes, I forgot. The steering rod's broken.
Well, if this car won't turn to the right, how are we going to get back to Beverly Hills?
I got it all mapped out, Miss Livingston. We go straight to Pasadena, left to Bakersfield, left to Oxnard, then down to Coke and Hope.
Oh, we'll get home all right. Once we get to Carthay Circle, we can head in any direction there. Now, keep your eyes open for a place that... Dennis, we're not on a parade. Stop sitting on top of the seat.
Huh?
And take that sign off your back.
Well, I want it there.
You don't need it. Everybody knows you've got 2 shows. Now, sit down on the... Whoop, whoop. There's a... Whoop, whoop.
What are you whoop-whooping about?
Rochester, there's a place to park right across the street.
Can't do it, boss. I'll have to make a U-turn.
Well, what's wrong with making a U-turn?
There's a $2 double charge.
There's a $2 cover charge for that. No cross. Boy, all I ask is one rehearsal. That's all I ask.
Well, go ahead. Nobody's looking. Now, grab hold of your door, Mary, so it won't fly open.
The door's on your side.
Oh, yes, yes. Well, here we are. Uh-oh, is that a policeman?
It ain't Uncle Remus.
It's a cop, all right. Shut the motor off. Gee.
Well, what are you going to do, Jack?
Oh, I'll think of something.
Hey, you. The idea of making a U-turn in the middle of the block.
Eh?
I said, what's the idea of making a U-turn in the middle of the block? Don't you know it's against the law?
Well, I'll tell you, officer, I don't get to the city very often, so I don't know much about your newfangled laws you got here.
What a performance.
Esri, be quiet. You see, officer, I live out Sherman Oaks way, and I just drove my old lady and my boy in to see the big city. Patooey. Ain't that right, Miranda?
You're darn tootin'. Patooey.
Thank goodness we have no windshield. Officer, this is the missus.
Oh, glad to know you, ma'am. Now, look, old-timer, you got to obey the traffic laws while you're in the city.
Well, I'll tell you.
Get your gun, Pa. That man's a revenuer.
Well, officer, guess we'll mosey along. Thanks very much for your advice.
All right, old-timer, but don't let this happen again.
I won't. So long, officer.
So long.
Come on, Mo and Esri. Let's take a look at this radio station, see what those programmings are like. And Zeke, you sit here and wait for it. Zeke. Zeke.
Oh, me?
Yes, you. Come on, Mary. The cop's gone now. Let's get into the studio. Dennis, hurry up.
Right behind you, Pa. Patooey.
Dennis, you're not a rube anymore. Put your shoes back on. 15 years on the radio, and it's the first time I've ever been late. Thank goodness we got here anyway.
She's got baked beans and candied yams, those sugar-cured Virginia hams.
All right,
Bacon
Phil,
full
all
of
right.
berry
I'm here.
jams, and
I'm
that's
here.
what I like.
Well, Phil, I'm here. You can stop.
What do you mean, stop, Jackson? I'm just getting warmed up.
Warmed up? You've been singing that thing for 20 minutes. I've been listening to you on the radio.
You've been listening to me?
Certainly.
Well, bless your little gray heart.
All right, Phil, you had your big day. Now go sit down.
Oh, Jack, what happened? How come you're so late?
Oh, it's a long story, Don. I had a flat tire, and then I got tied up in traffic, and Rochester didn't know what he was talking about. And right out here in front of the studio... Well, he was nervous. You know, a cop coming. You can blame him. You know. Then right out here in front of the studio, a cop tried to give me a ticket. I told him I was Jack Benny. He changed his mind fast. Didn't he, Mary?
Patooey.
Oh, stop that. Now, look, kids, the show is so mixed up, we'll have to start somewhere. So, Dennis, maybe you ought... Wait a minute. Phil.
What's the matter?
What are you, excuse the expression, musician dressed like that for? Huh?
Oh, that. Well, a photographer's coming over to take some publicity shots, and I told the boys that if they look glamorous, they might get their pictures in Esquire.
Look, Phil, your boys will never get their pictures in Esquire. So you can tell Frankie to put down that white telephone and take off that low-cut sweatshirt. And tell him to cover up that tattoo on his chest.
Are you kidding? He gets paid for that.
I know, but it's such a ridiculous tattoo. This is the year of the yearling. What a slogan, the year of the yearling.
What about the slogan they had for your picture?
Mary.
This is the week of the weakling.
That shows how much you know. It didn't even run a week. Now, look, kids, before we start our play for tonight, I think Dennis... What's that?
Jack, there's a man in the third row with a gun.
Hey, mister, what's the idea?
Oh, I'm sorry. I tried to shoot myself, but I missed.
Well, what's wrong?
I'm a dentist, and my patient is driving me crazy.
Your patient?
Her name is Nora Prentice, and she won't open her mouth.
He must be crazy. A few minutes ago, he was a rabbit. Sing, Dennis. Go ahead.
Does it still run down to Donny Cove, through Killy Bay, Kilkerry and Kildare? How are things in Glockamora? Is that willow tree still weeping there? Does that lassie with a twinkling eye come smiling by? And does she walk away sad and dreamy there, not to see me there? So I ask each weeping willow and each brook along the way, and each laugh that comes
That was How Are Things in Glockamora, sung by Dennis Day. And Dennis, that was a cute little Irish number.
Not as cute as the one I took up on Mulholland Drive.
Well, has she got a friend?
Yes, but you wouldn't like him.
Oh. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for our feature... Come in.
Pardon the intrusion, Mr. Benny, but could you do me, please, a favor?
Oh, why, certainly, Mr. Kitzel. Hello, what is it?
Well, I got 2 tickets to a radio program here at the NBC, and I don't know what studio it's in.
Oh, well, what program is it?
Edgar Borenstein.
Oh, Edgar Bergen. Edgar Bergen, yeah. He's in Studio A, right across the hall.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. I know you like Edgar's show. That Charlie McCarthy is really funny.
Yes, and you look so natural, too. Almost like a human being.
That's right. Many people mistake Charlie for a little boy.
Yes, I know. Once when I was by his broadcast, I went up to him and I said, "Please, Mr. McCarthy, could I have your autograph?"
I'll bet you felt silly.
Who felt silly? He gave it to me.
Oh.
But you know, he's certainly comical, that Charlie McCarthy. And so is the other little dummy, Mortimer Schwartz.
That's Snurd.
Oh,
By the way, Mr. Kitzel, I meant to thank you for the birthday card you sent me. It was very thoughtful, and it expressed such nice sentiment.
Yes, and I wrote that poem myself.
What was the poem, Mr. Kitzel?
Well, it went like this. To Mr. Benny. Today I hear you're 38, but I know you're 53. But if you're liking 38, that's okay by me.
Well, it was a very cute thought. Mr. Kitzel, in case you happen to pass my house during the next few days, drop in. I'll mix you a martini.
A martini? Oh.
Oh, you like martinis?
No.
Well, anyway, Mr. Kitzel, if you're around when I leave, I'll drive you home.
Yeah, well, thank you, but don't bother, Mr. Benny. You see, I got my own car, a new Studebaker.
You have?
Mm-hmm. It's got exactly 1,800 miles on it.
1,800? Dennis, that must have been the car you peeked into.
Oh.
Dennis!
Well, goodbye, Mr. Benny.
So long, Mr. Kitzel.
How are things in Glockamora?
Gee, he's a nice little guy. I'm sorry I forgot to invite him to my birthday party.
Oh, that reminds me, Jack. It's been a whole week now, and you never thanked me for the birthday present I sent you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mary. Thanks very much. It was a wonderful gift. I really appreciated it.
What'd you give him, Livy?
A check for $10.
Well, Mary, it wasn't the sentiment, it was the money. I mean, it wasn't the money, it was the check. I mean, the sentiment. Now, come on, kids, we have a sketch to do. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight...
Oh, Jack, before you start the sketch, don't you think we ought to do a commercial?
Just one color. That's all I ask. One man read a line right. That's all. 13 years he's been with me. What were you going to say, Don?
Well, I say, before you start the sketch, don't you think we ought to do a commercial?
A commercial? Well, to start me an original idea. Yes, by all means, let's be daring. Let's be daring and do a commercial.
Okay, Jack. Quartet's ready.
The what?
The
quartet?
Yeah.
Now, wait a minute, Don, wait a minute. No quartet and no more singing. That's final.
But, Jack...
Look, Don, since we opened our season 22 weeks ago, the Sportsmen Quartet has been driving me nuts. It isn't bad enough what they do to me in the studio. But 2 weeks ago, you brought them right out on the street, right out on the corner in front of NBC, in front of a crowd of people, and embarrassed me something awful. Imagine them singing a commercial and people throwing money. Pennies.
How much was it, Jack?
$4.67. Some smart Alex threw a slug. So, Don, let's not talk about it anymore. The quartet is through. They'll never sing for me again.
Jack, I know I've asked you many times to give these boys one more chance, and I'm going to ask again, but just this once.
Don, look.
And if you don't like it this time, you can fire them, and I give you my word of honor, I'll not interfere.
Well, all right, Don. If you really mean what you said, it's a deal. I'll give these boys one more chance. Remember, fellas, this is your last chance. Is that clear? All right, Don.
Okay, their number is humoresque. Take it, boys, and remember, your job depends on it. Go ahead.
L-S-L-S-M-F-T means fine tobacco, don't you see?
Not bad.
Yes, L-S-L-S-M-F-M-F-T, my darling.
Better.
If you wish to spell, it's merely T-F-M-S-L.
Backwards?
So round, so firm, so
Not bad at all. Very good. Very good.
Patch, hold me back, harassment, get with it, Joe. Rock it, you must sock it. A little bit of heaven is LSMFP. Ice, give me a piece of pipe.
John, look. No, John, that isn't what I want, John. John, that isn't what I want at all.
There is nothing quite like lucky.
John, that isn't what I want. Wait a minute, fellas. Wait a minute, fellas. That's not it at all.
We know, so we say it's so fast.
Wait a minute, fellas. Look, wait a minute. Wait a minute! All right, fellas, I've had enough. That was it. You had your chance, and you're through making a fool out of me. You're fired. Through. Now get out. Out. Well, at last I'm through with them. And Don, don't you open your mouth or you go with them. And now, ladies and gentlemen.
Jack.
What?
If you ask me, I think you're making a big mistake firing your quartet.
I didn't ask you. And now...
Livy's right, Jackson. Huh? Livy's right, Jackson. You should never have fired those guys.
Huh?
They're harmony. It's great.
Phil, when you're talking about pool, I'll take your word. When we're talking about bourbon, I'll bow to your superior judgment. Even if we're talking about new hairdos, I'll acquiesce. But when it comes to music and harmony, I'd rather take the word of Lassie's other pup. And now, ladies and gentlemen...
I think you're right, Mr. Benny.
You bet I'm right. I'm glad you're on my side, Dennis.
The other side wouldn't have me.
I will. And the quartet is fired, and that's settled. Now, let's get on with the play. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for our feature attraction tonight... Oh, now what? Come in.
How do you do, folks?
I'm the photographer from Downbeat Magazine. I'm here to take pictures of Phil Harris's band.
Wait a minute, mister. We're trying to do a program. Why are you taking pictures of Harris's orchestra?
Oh, they just won a popularity contest that was conducted by our magazine.
A contest?
Yes, we stopped 10 people on the street and asked them who their favorite band was.
Uh-huh.
And all 11 voted for Phil Harris.
You stopped 10 people and 11 of them voted for Phil?
One of them had 2 heads.
That I can believe.
Hey, wait a minute, Bub. Wait a minute. We ain't posing for just anybody. Are you a good photographer?
Oh, I'm one of the best in the business. I have some pictures here that I've taken of my children. Here, look at them.
No, look, we haven't time.
Oh, Jack, look at these pictures. Aren't they cute? How old is this little boy?
That's Irving. He's 7. And this little fellow is Julius. He's 5.
Well, how about this cute little girl, the smallest one on the end?
That's my wife. She's a midget.
I'm terribly sorry. I didn't mean to be rude. That is...
That's all right. Quite frequently, I get my wife mixed up with the children.
Really?
Yes, only this morning I fed her a bowl of pablum, threw over my shoulder, and burped her.
Oh.
I didn't realize she was my wife till her teeth dropped on the floor.
Her teeth?
Hey, what about taking the pictures? My boys are getting nervous.
All right, everybody smile now. Watch the birdie. 1, 2, 3, click. Got it.
Good. Now, if you don't mind, we'll get on with our show.
Just a minute. Before I leave, would you mind if I took a picture of your quartet?
My quartet? Why?
Just to keep for myself. I think they're wonderful.
Oh, you do, eh? Well, if you want a picture of my quartet, you can go outside and look for them. I just fired them.
You fired them?
Yes.
You fool, you!
What?
You mean old man!
I am not a mean old man, and get out. Nobody's going to come in here and tell me how to run my business.
But, Jack...
Wait a minute, Mary. Now, wait a minute. I've got something to say to you and everybody in the company, and you might as well hear it. I've been on the radio for 15 years. I've always had my own show. I've always run my own show. And I'm going to keep on running it. And you, Don, Dennis, or Phil, or nobody else in the world is going to tell me what to do. And that's final. Any questions?
Why do you wear those thick glasses?
Because they don't cost any more than the thin one. That's why. Now, let's get on with the show. Ladies and gentlemen... Oh, darn it, the phone. Mary, answer it, please.
Okay. Hello? Yes? Yes, sir, he's right here.
Who is it, Mary?
Jack, it's Mr. Vincent Riggio, president of the American Tobacco Company.
Oh, my sponsor. Hello, Vince. Vincent? Oh, Mr. Riggio. Well, what can I do for you, Mr. Riggio? You've been listening to the show? Wasn't it great? Oh. I shouldn't have what? But I had to fire him. That quartet was the worst. You don't think so? Well, everybody's entitled to his own opinion. I mean, that's why they put rubber mats around cuspidors. What? I guess you're right. It didn't get a laugh here either. But about the quartet, Mr. Riggio, I felt that... I know, but... But, Mr. Riggio, I know, but... Yes, but... You might be right, but... But... I know, but... But... Mr. Riggio. But, Mr.
Jack will be back in just a minute, but first here's my good friend Basil Rysdale.
Tobacco Auctioneer. Remember, LSMFT. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. And fine tobacco is what counts in a cigarette.
Listen to the words of a man who's been an independent tobacco auctioneer for 21 years, Mr. Dewey H. Huffine of Reedsville, North Carolina. Mr. Huffine really knows tobacco, and here's what he said.
At thousands of tobacco auctions, I've seen the makers of Lucky Strike buy mild, ripe, mellow tobacco that tastes good and smokes good. I've smoked Luckies myself for 29 years.
Quote, at thousands of tobacco auctions, I have seen the makers of Lucky Strike buy mild, ripe, mellow tobacco. Unquote. Remember, the independent tobacco experts like Mr. Huffine can see the makers of Lucky Strike consistently select and buy that fine, that light, that naturally mild tobacco.
Fine, light, naturally mild tobacco. Yes, first, last, always.
LSMFT.
Lucky Strike means fine tobacco.
LSMFT.
No doubt about it. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco, and fine tobacco means real, deep-down smoking enjoyment for you.
So smoke that smoke of fine tobacco, Lucky Strike. So round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw.
But, Mr. Riggio. Well, all right, if you want a quartet.
The F.W. Fitch Company presents The Fitch Bandwagon, starring Alice Faye.
You'll never know just how much I love you. You'll never know just how much I care.
And Phil Harris.
Won't you come with me to Alabama? Let's go see my dear old mammy. She's frying eggs and broiling hammy. And that's what I like about the South.
Last Friday began peacefully enough at the Harrises. The master arose early for a leisurely inspection of his estate. About 9 o'clock, we find him entering the kitchen.
Oh, it's you, Phil.
Yeah. Wow. Good morning, Passionola. Yeah. Oh, honey, you look gorgeous today.
Well, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. You look prettier than Pat O'Brien in The Life of Newt Rockney.
Well, aren't you pretty bright for this early in the morning?
Oh, kid, this morning Harris is with it. I'm sharper than Basil Rathbone's nose.
Where have you been, anyway?
I got up at 7 a.m. for a brisk walk around the reservoir.
The reservoir?
Yeah, I couldn't find a reservoir, so I ran around a Dixie cup. Oh, Harris, you're a Lulu. Tonight you're hotter than a depot stove, you dub, you. Carry on.
And for this, they gave him 2 programs.
What did you say, baby?
And for this, they gave him 2 programs.
Yeah, I just want to be sure. I've been married to you for 5 years. People are talking. I'm on my own now. I got a job of my own. I want people to know that. And can I help it if I feel good? Hey, I saw Phyllis and Alice outside. What are they made up for? They look like last week's laundry.
You know very well they've got on the new dresses Mother made them.
New dresses? What did she make them out of? Your brother's old work clothes?
Of course not.
Then how come on Phyllis's panties it says Los Angeles Prison Farm?
Phil Harris, my brother never worked on a prison farm. He's always held very important jobs.
Jobs? That guy ain't done a lick of work since they took away his Hupmobile agency.
Well, at least he doesn't earn his living making a fool of himself like you do.
Making a fool of myself?
Yeah, you and that poker club song. Hey, Egghead, keep your bony hands up on the table while you're dealing, please. And don't be slipping them wildies down in there between your knees. Yeah. Oh, brother.
Now, you cut that out. That's my business.
Your business? You stole the whole thing from Bert Williams.
Now, never mind. It just so happens that stuff is our bread and butter.
Look, Tone Deaf. If this family counted on that for our bread and butter, we'd all be out with tin cups.
Now, you wait a minute. Don't be talking like that. Anyway, how did we get into this? All I did was to make a remark about the children's dresses. That's all.
Well, it so happens they're dressed up for a very good reason.
What good reason?
Well, I was talking to Emily Williams yesterday, and I'm going to have the children painted.
Oh, fine. By all means, that's a great idea. I've always wanted a kid with a two-tone finish and red fenders. With a belt in the back.
No, I mean a portrait in oils.
Oils? What's that?
You know what an oil painting is. Like Mona Lisa.
The Mona Lisa? Did you ever get a load of that silly grin on her kisser? She looks like she's sitting on an Eskimo pie.
Well, just the same, I'm going to call that portrait painter and have him do the children.
Go ahead. Do what you want. Oil them up. I got a recording date downtown.
But Phil...
I'll see you later.
What a character I'm tied up with. I knew I should have listened to my mother.
Well, I think I'll drive the station wagon downtown today. Nah, it's such a nice day. I better take the convertible. Or should I take the station wagon?
Why don't you crawl on your belly, you snake?
Well, if it ain't Julius Abruzio, the juvenile Oscar Levant. Now put them groceries in the house.
You're Phil Harris, ain't you?
You know I am.
Yeah, but I didn't recognize you today.
Why not?
You're standing up.
Look, Abruzio, I'm in a hurry. Now put them groceries in the house.
Okay, Jerko. Groceries.
Oh, hello.
Gee, you're Alice Faye, ain't you?
That's right.
Will you hold these groceries a minute?
What for?
I think I'm going to faint.
Oh, don't be silly. Put them down.
Yeah.
Not in my lap.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What's the matter with you?
Well, you don't know me, Miss Faye, but you're my dream girl.
Oh, I am?
Yeah. I often watch you come in the supermarket where I work.
Well, I didn't know that.
That's right. Many's the time I've worshipped you from behind the pyramid of Western Oil and Snowdrift.
Oh, I think that's awfully sweet.
Yet one day last week I stood there and watched you peel grapefruit. You felt one and didn't take it.
I didn't?
Yeah, and that night I took it home and ate it.
How touching.
Yeah. It was rotten, but I ate it. Miss Faye, would you give me your autograph?
Why, certainly.
Write it here, Miss Faye.
On your arm?
That's right.
But won't it wash off?
Yeah, but I'll have a year to enjoy it. Well, I gotta be going now, Miss Faye.
Well, goodbye, Sonny.
Please, Miss Faye, not Sonny. I prefer to be known as your obedient servant, Julius Abruzio.
All right. Goodbye, Julius. Oh, gee, it's nice to get a compliment again. It's the first one I've had since I got mixed up with old Hot Shot. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay. My, oh my, what a wonderful day. Plenty of sunshine heading my way. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay. Mr. Bluebird on my shoulder. It's the truth, it's actual. Everything is satisfactory. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay. Wonderful feeling, wonderful day. wonderful day. Plenty of sunshine heading my way. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay, Mr. Bluebird on my shoulder. It's the truth. It's actual. Everything is satisfactory. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay. Wonderful feeling. What a wonderful day.
Beautiful hair is like a magnet. It attracts. Yes, smooth, soft, shining hair attracts masculine attention and feminine admiration. You'll find it's easy to have the kind of hair that wins the approval of all when you use Fitch's Dandruff Remover Shampoo regularly. Fitch is the shampoo that makes your hair feel softer, makes it sparkle and easier to manage. It does this with its special reconditioning action. Yes, Fitch contains a special antiseptic action that reconditions as it cleanses. This process works equally well in hard or soft water and for all colors and textures of hair. Fitch has been granted the Good Housekeeping Seal and the Parents Magazine Commendation Seal. Proof again of the excellence of this product. So ask for an economical bottle of Fitch at drug or toilet goods counters or have professional applications at beauty or barber shops. Use Fitch's Dandruff Remover Shampoo regularly for lovely hair that will attract like a magnet and win well-deserved compliments for you.
Man, I better step on it if I'm going to make that recording date. I wonder if I'm in good voice today. I hope that I shall never see a poem lovely as a tree whose hungry mouth is. Oh, Harris, you nightingale, you. Oh, with pipes like that, you ought to be on the Prudential Family Hour, kid. I don't want to go no further. I don't want to burn myself out. Now, let's see. I wonder what I can get on the radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Sunshine, the man who has brought a change to our methods to dentistry, brings you another transcribed spot announcement featuring Frank Remley and his guitar.
Oh, no, not another one. How many jobs can a guy take?
And now here's Frankie Remley.
Thank you.
Wait.
Oh, Dr. Sunshine, oh, Dr. Sunshine, he'll pull your teeth out, no money down. He's pulled by customers from wives and husbands. He's the biggest jerk in town.
Friends, when you open your mouth to speak, do your teeth fall out on the table? This may indicate that your teeth are loose. Act now. Visit any one of the 6,000 Dr. Sunshine offices, all conveniently located at the corner of La Cienega and Figueroa. Dr. Sunshine uses no harsh abrasives, no x-rays, and no painful electric drills. He just climbs in the mouth with a brace and bit. And now back to Frankie Remley.
Oh, plastic dentures, oh, plastic dentures. With Dr. Sunshine, you can relax. You'll have no trouble with plates that wobble, 'cause he nails them down with tack.
Oh, no, not that, Frankie, not that. I wonder if Stokowski's guitar player does singing commercials. Well, now, let me see. This is the building, and they told me that we're making the record in Studio H. Oh, here it is, right down the hall. Oops!
All right. Get your big top head out of me mop bucket.
Well, I can, lady. My head is caught in the ringer.
In the ringer? Well, here, I'll crank it out for you. Well, if it ain't me old friend Periwinkle Charlie, the cradle snatcher of Rugby Mews.
Now, look, lady, I'm not Periwinkle Charlie. I'm Phil Harris.
Oh, to be sure, the werewolf of San Luis Obispo.
Now, look, Miss Bucket, I'm always running into you. What are you doing mopping up in the recording studio?
Well, I'm doing a special clean-up job. You see that spot on the wall?
Yeah.
Well, this morning, Carmen the Barrow came in here to make a record. He was singing Zippity-Doo-Dah.
Carmen was singing Zippity-Doo-Dah?
That's right. On the third doo-dah, he reached for a high one, and they sent for me.
Oh, please now, lady, stop with that. Do you expect me to believe that?
I don't care whether you believe it or not. Get along with you now, before I put on me tap shoes and beat out a perigdiddle on your scrawny body.
Teetotaler. Here's Studio H right here. All right, guys. Put away that Mozart and forget about Bach, because Harris is here to get you out of hock. Yeah. All right, guys, let's take this number 7 and rip it up the back, Jack. Wait a minute. Frankie.
What?
What are you using there for a guitar pick?
Oh, a set of false teeth.
False teeth?
Yeah, Dr. Sunshine pays me off in plastic dentures. At home, I got 400 sets of them.
400 sets?
Yeah. I either got to get another job or a bigger mouth.
Now, wait a minute, Frankie. Will you do me a favor? Let me hear a couple of chords on that guitar.
Okay.
Oh, kid, what are you using for strings on that thing? Old corset stays?
No. I think there's something inside the guitar lousing up my technique.
Well, look, Eddie Peabody, shake it out, will you? Shake it out.
Okay.
What was that bottle doing in there?
They gave me that last night. I did some modeling for a magazine.
You a model? What magazine?
The Embalmers Monthly. They had me posing in front of a mantel holding a glass of formaldehyde in my hand.
Well, didn't it bother you drinking that stuff?
No. But when I woke up this morning, I had a lily in my hand.
Well, put it back down and get back to your seat. Now, go ahead. Come on, guys. Let's print this number. Take it from me. 1, 2. One night, Farmer Brown was taking the air after locking up the barn with the greatest of care. Then down in the hen house, somebody stirred when he shouted, "Who's there? Who's there?" I'm telling the truth. This is what he heard. You can believe it or not. There ain't nobody here but us chickens. There ain't nobody here at all. So quiet yourself. Stop that fuss. There ain't nobody here but us. We chickens trying to sleep, and you bust in and hobble, 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 hobble with your chin. There ain't nobody here but us chickens. There ain't nobody here at all. You're stomping around, you're shaking the ground, you're raising up a powerful dust. We chickens trying to sleep, and you bust in and hobble, 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 hobble. It's a sin. Tomorrow is a busy day. We got things to do, we got eggs to lay, worms to dig, ground to scratch, and it takes a lot of setting getting chicks to hatch. There ain't nobody here but us chickens. There ain't nobody here at all. So quiet yourself. Stop that fuss. There ain't nobody here but us. And kind of point that gun the other way and hobble, hobble, hobble off and hit the hay. nobody here but us chickens. There ain't nobody here at all. Shh, quiet yourself. Stop that fuss. There ain't nobody here but us. We chickens trying to sleep, and you bust in and bye-bye-oodle with your chin. Now, there ain't nobody here but us chickens. There ain't nobody here at all. You stomping around, you shaking the ground, you raising up a powerful dust. We chickens trying to sleep, and you bust in, and yakety, 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 it's a sin. Tomorrow is a busy day. We got things to do, we got eggs to lay, worms to dig, grounds to scratch, and it takes a lot of setting getting chicks to hatch. Now, there ain't nobody here but us chickens. There ain't nobody here at all. Shh, quiet yourself. Stop that fuss. There ain't nobody here but us. And kind of point that gun the other way and hobble, hobble, hobble off and hit the hay. All right, guys. That ought to get it. Pack up your horns now and get back to the pool hall.
Just a minute. Don't anyone dare leave this room.
Who are you, Buster?
I'm the recording director.
You?
Yes, I'm Cyril from the symphonic department.
Symphonic department? Then what, how come you're assigned to my band?
They're punishing me. Yes, they are. Anyway, we'll have to make that last record over.
Listen, Buster, listen. Harris makes them once and that's it. I ain't gonna do it over.
Now, look, it so happens Toscanini spends days making one record.
Yeah? Well, it so happens Toscanini don't have Alice Faye waiting for him at all.
Yes.
Look, Doc, you needn't tell me how to run my band. It just so happens that my records sell.
They certainly do.
I said sell.
Look, don't argue with my nose.
You listen to me, wise guy.
And look at your musicians. They're nothing but wild savages.
They are not savages.
Then why are they cooking a missionary in the kettle drum?
That ain't no missionary. That's Frankie washing his socks.
Well, believe me, I shan't stand in the way of that.
You listen to me, Cyril. I don't want no trouble with you. This is my band, and I'll louse it up the way I want.
Well, so far, you've done a grand job.
Hey, go, Harris. Telephone.
Okay, I'll get it. Lay dead, will you, Cyril? Hello?
Oh, Phil, I'm so glad I got you. Something terrible has happened.
Yeah? What did they do? Give your brother back his Hupmobile agency?
No, this is serious. That portrait painter is here, and he's not a bit like I expected.
Well, that serves you right. The whole thing was your idea. What's the matter?
Oh, he's acting awfully strange, and he keeps kissing my hand.
So what? All them European guys do that.
Up to the elbow?
Oh.
Not only that, he ate my bracelets as he went.
Well, what's the matter with the guy?
Well, his name is Salvador Tinerelli. He's one of those surrealist painters, and he's frightened the children.
He's frightened my children?
Yes, he insisted that baby Alice posed with a dead fish in her hand.
Well, where'd he get a dead fish?
I don't know. He just took off his hat, and there it was.
Oh, well, don't get excited. I'll be right home.
Oh, please hurry. Please, he's taken a turkey leg out of the icebox.
Well, maybe he's hungry.
I don't think so. He dipped it in ketchup and painted a mural on the ceiling.
Well, then keep away from that bum. I'll be there in a minute. Goodbye. Hey, Alice, I'm home. Where is the guy?
Up in the guest room.
The guest room?
Mm-hmm. He's under the bed and he won't come out.
Oh, he's under the bed. He won't come out. Okay, don't worry. I'll take care of this. Okay, Tinerary. Come on out from under that bed.
Bah!
What?
Bah!
Bah!
Yes, that's artistic for get lost, peasants.
Hey, listen, Tinerary, come on out of there.
Very well. Have a piece of a turkey?
Huh?
Wait, I licked the ketchup off, huh?
Now, you listen to me. What is that?
Well, don't bother me. I'm scratching myself.
Hey, now, wait a minute. What's all this junk around the room?
Junk? My paintings. I unpack my things. I think I stay a while, huh?
Stay a while? Look, pack up your things and get out of here. Now, get out. What are you staring at?
That head. That head, what a beautiful monster you are.
Huh?
I worship you.
Stop eating my bracelet.
Oh, such a head I dreamed about. Such a malignity. Such unspeakable grotesquerie.
It's pretty good, huh?
Good. It's absolutely hideous.
Gee, I must look exceptionally pretty today.
I must paint you. I've seen nothing like you since I did my most famous painting.
Yeah? What was that?
Salami's embracing.
Yeah.
Now, you must pose for me. Quick, I get my canvas.
But wait a minute.
Here it is, and now the chin.
Wait.
The eyes, here.
Phil, are you in there?
Yeah, come on in. Me and Tinny's here doing a little painting.
Phil Harris, why are you standing on that end table?
Quiet. I'm painting him.
Well, why is he holding that turkey leg?
Madame, that's no turkey leg. That's a sundial. He represents disgust at high noon.
Yeah. Ain't I gorgeous?
Mr. Tinarelli?
Yes, madame.
You are leaving.
But, madame... Oh, please, madame, not by the ears. You hurt me!
Out!
Please, not down the stairs.
Go!
Stinking peasant!
Honey, what did you do that for? He was painting my picture and it ain't finished.
Oh, yes, it is.
Alice, now put that down. Put it down.
Here. Wear it in good health.
Oh, no.
Alice,
What?
would you care for a piece of turkey leg?
Oh, you.
Alice and Phil will be back in just a moment. Fitch's Dandruff Remover Shampoo is almost a miracle shampoo when it comes to removing dandruff. Yes, it seems miraculous indeed the way Fitch completely removes dandruff the very first time you use it. All you do is apply Fitch to the hair and scalp before adding water. Massage briskly. The antiseptic liquid penetrates and cleanses the thousands of tiny hair openings on the scalp, dissolving all traces of dandruff. Then, when you apply water gradually, a delightfully rich lather forms to float away the dissolved dandruff. Rinse thoroughly, and you'll find you've had one of the most refreshing dandruff remover shampoos of your life. Fitch leaves your scalp tingling with that clean sensation, your hair sparkling and free of dandruff. It's the only shampoo made whose guarantee to remove dandruff with the first application is backed by one of the world's largest insurance firms. Yes, it seems almost miraculous the way Fitch removes dandruff. So don't let those unsightly flakes embarrass you any longer. Use Fitch's Dandruff Remover Shampoo regularly. Fitch is spelled F-I-T-C-H.
Phil? Well, what are you doing over there with that turkey leg?
Don't bother me, honey. I'm painting one of them surrealist masterpieces. Oh, it's a thing of gossamer beauty and fragile tenderness.
Oh. Well, what's it called?
Greer Garson holding ham hock.
Tune in next week when the F.W. Fitch Company again brings you the Fitch Bandwagon with Alice Faye and Phil Harris. This program is written by Joe Connolly and Bob Mosier and directed by Paul Phillips, with original music composed and conducted by Walter Sharp. Included in the cast were Verna Felton, Walter Tetley, Hans Conried, Elliot Lewis, Joe Twerp, and Frank Nelson. Alice Faye appears through the courtesy of 20th Century Fox.
Laugh a while, then a song be your style. Use Fitch shampoo. Don't despair, use your head, save your hair. Use Fitch shampoo.
Man, use Fitch's Ideal Hair Tonic daily. It makes your scalp tingle with that feeling of new life and pep. Fitch's Ideal is not sticky or greasy, so pep up your scalp and give your hair that well-groomed look with Fitch's Ideal Hair Tonic. Bill Foreman speaking.
This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
Buck Benny. It's a two-fisted, quick-triggered marksman who shoots from the hip and never misses.
Well, hello again. This is Buck Benny speaking. Welcome to another episode of the Jack Benny Show from the 1936-1937 season. Tonight's episode, we're going to find out, does Jack get his violin back? Will he play the B? Well, you'll have to stick around and see. But tonight's episode, I like the way it features Kenny Baker a little bit more than we're used to having. I haven't talked about Kenny a lot lately, but he does really. This song tonight shows off how he loves to hit that one really strong note towards the end of the song and really punch it home. He's big into the big note, but he has some dialogue before the song, and I think he has some dialogue after the song, and he just has quite a bit of dialogue with Jack during this episode. Some fun stuff that he does, so I think you'll enjoy a little bit of extra time with our friend Kenny Baker. I think the reason he might have got the extra time probably is because Mary is not on the show tonight, and they elaborately go about explaining why she's not on the show and where she's at and a whole backstory. I think this is before she's missed too many episodes, and later on she misses so many episodes that they just kind of move on. but this one, they really explain it. It actually works pretty well with what's coming up and with Jack going to New York for the next couple weeks, which will be great. Just a pretty right-on episode. Fun to hear this episode, and we have it in newly upgraded sound this year. It was great sound before, but now it's even better. It just amazes me how these shows from 1937 can sound sometimes better than our shows from 1947. You just never know. But after the episode, then Jack, between this episode and his next episode, had gone on to the Ben Burney show and appeared on that show. We have about a 10-minute clip of Jack's appearance on there that'll be coming up at the end of this show. So if you listen through this show, then you'll hear the Ben Burney performance with Jack and Ben Burney. Now, Ben Burney is famous for the fact that Jack, originally, we had Ben Burney not been around, we would have probably never known Jack Benny. We probably would have known Ben Benny, because Jack had changed his name to Ben Benny. But then when Jack Benny was going by Ben Benny, Ben Burney, who'd had his name a lot longer, was upset by that, and so asked Jack to change his name, and Jack went from Ben Benny to Jack Benny, which I think works actually better anyway. The other thing that similarities between Jack Benny and Ben Benny are that Ben Benny had a feud before Jack and Fred had a feud. Ben Burney had a feud with Walter Winchell, and they would feud back and forth, and this is just a few months or a year before Jack and Fred had the famous feud. So I don't know how much that had an influence on it. I could see how
maybe in the back of their minds, when they started kind of joking back and forth, they were thinking, oh, this is kind of like the feud with Ben Burney, and Walter Winchell. So I don't know how much that had to do with it. Also, Ben Burney is famous for one of his catchphrases is "Yowza, yowza, yowza," which you probably heard in cartoons, or certainly they kind of played off of that on Happy Days, with when Richie Cunningham was having his own radio show. He used the "Yowza, yowza" lines and things. But anyway, without further ado, here's a wonderful, fun episode with Jack. See whether he got his violin back and whether or not he plays the B. And then stay tuned for Ben Burney and Jack Benny together. Just a fun night overall. And we'll see you folks next week.
J-E-L-L-O. The Jello program starring Jack Benny with Phil Harris and his orchestra. The orchestra opens the program with Gee, But You're Swell. These days, we all like to have lunch or dinner at a good restaurant once in a while. And in good restaurants everywhere, you'll find that you can enjoy genuine Jell-O for dessert just as you do at home. For instance, we have just had a very complimentary letter from the nationally famous Child's Restaurants, which we think will interest you. It says, quote, "You will be pleased to know that as a result of tests made in the Child's Research Laboratory, Jell-O was selected for use in all our flavored gelatin desserts. We find that Jell-O has a superior flavor, and for this reason it is the only gelatin dessert served in Child's Restaurants. It is our aim to serve our patrons the highest quality in every line, and that we feel in gelatin desserts means genuine Jell-O. Signed, L.G. Dutton, Vice President, the Child's Company." We're mighty pleased and proud to receive this letter, and remember, whether you order Jell-O in a restaurant or from your own grocer, always be sure you get genuine Jell-O.
In New York, okay, but the train trip was terrible as there was nothing but trunks and suitcases in my car. She must have gotten in the baggage car by mistake. New York City is just the same as...
What are you reading, Jack?
Oh, it's a letter from Mary. Gosh, it seems lonesome tonight without her, doesn't it, Don?
Oh, it sure does.
You know, I kind of miss her, too. The program doesn't seem the same without Mary.
Not so loud, Phil. She's probably listening in. There's no use spoiling her.
What does she say in her letter, Jack?
Well, it's a little personal, Don. You know, she wouldn't want me to read it to everybody.
Oh, go ahead.
All right. Dear Jack, Don, Phil, Kenny, and everybody. Arrived in New York. Oh, I read that, yeah. She says, I got in Chicago on time and stopped there for 3 hours between trains. Believe me, it's no fun standing between trains. You get cinders all over you. She certainly takes things literally, doesn't she? Enjoyed the ride to New York. The train had a streamline, and so did that salesman I met. But don't worry, I can take care of myself, and anyway, he got off at Cleveland.
That's good.
She's writing form there.
When I arrived at Grand Central Station, a great big man rushed up, threw his arms around me, and kissed me. Was I disappointed when I found out it was my uncle? I am stopping at the Hotel Lombardi, which is just 1,500 miles up the street from the Miami Biltmore. I hope she doesn't try to go in swimming. And Mama, Papa, and Brother Hillard came in from Plainfield, and we went to Aunt Rose's new wedding last night. Papa was going to wear his full dress suit with the tails, but when he took it out of the closet, he found that the moths had eaten it into a tuxedo. Well,
not bad.
Yeah. This afternoon, while passing Radio City, I ran into Fred Allen. He spoke about you, and believe me, that's no way to talk in front of a lady. I was going to slap his face, but he was chewing tobacco, so I thought twice. Anyway, he invited me to lunch, but made me pay my own check. I couldn't do anything about it, though, as he claimed his invitation wasn't in writing. Same old Alan.
Oh, he's not that tight.
He's not, eh? Listen, fellas. Have you ever played poker with Alan?
No.
Well, if you ever do, watch out. He plays a very conservative game. Come here a minute. When he opens the pot, you can throw away 4 kings.
No kidding.
Really, I'm not kidding. Not only that, he cheats, too. I remember one time I caught him sending out 3 white chips to be dyed.
Oh, Jack. Jack, you're exaggerating.
Well, maybe it was only 2 chips. I don't know.
Well, go ahead, Jack, with Mary's letter.
Okay. I am writing this letter in the lobby of the hotel, and the swellest-looking fellow is sitting opposite me. He just smiled, which explains this blot. She's probably kidding. That nice man just smiled again, so we'll close wishing good luck to you and me. Yours faithfully, Mary. Hey, that was cute, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Hello, fellas.
Hi, Getty.
Hey, Jack, I got a surprise for you.
What is it?
Well, I knew Mary wasn't going to be here, so I brought my girl Lena to help out with the program.
Well, that's very nice of you, Kenny. We need help. Oh, there she is. Hello, Lena. How are you?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Isn't she clever, Jack?
Yeah, well,
that's only part of it. Now, here's the joke we made up. This'll kill you. Go ahead, Lena, ask him.
Is this going to be funny?
We think so. Go ahead, Lena.
All right. What's the difference between Mary Livingston and the Queen Mary?
Well, the question is clever. Go ahead, Lena. What is the difference between Mary Livingston and the Queen Mary?
Mary Livingston is a girl, and the Queen Mary is a boat.
What's funny about that, Kenny?
Gee, don't you get it? Mary isn't a boat.
Oh, am I surprised? I must tell her to keep out of water.
Yeah. Now, Lena, do that laugh like Mary does. And, Jack, you ask her what she's laughing at.
Okay.
Go ahead, Lena. Laugh like Mary. Now ask her, Jack.
All right. What are you laughing at, Lena?
You, who wouldn't?
Ain't she a panic?
Yeah, panic meaning disaster. Yeah, thanks, Kenny. And now Phil Harris will play...
Hey, wait a minute, Jack. We got one more.
Oh.
Give it to him, Lena.
Mr. Benny, if I gained 50 pounds, what would I be?
I don't know. What would you be, Lena?
Fatter.
Wow!
You get it, Jack? Lena fatter?
Yeah, just like your header. Play a fella. Mary, come home. All is forgiven. Baby, played by the orchestra and directed by Phil Harris, who came back from the Santa Anita racetrack yesterday as fast as he could walk. Say, Phil, your orchestra sounds a little softer than usual tonight. What happened?
Well, Jack, I bet my trombone player on Seabiscuit and lost.
Oh, well, that's too bad. Huh?
Doggone it, every horse I bet on loses by a nose.
Well, you'll either have to get hotter tips or longer horses.
Yeah.
One or the other. Like that, huh? Well, they must have lost two out there. I can see that.
Say, Jack, how did you make out in the handicap?
Not so good, Phil. Unfortunately, the horse I bet on just got over the flu and was afraid of crowds.
Yeah.
But Phil, when it comes to gambling, I'm a pretty good sport, and I don't mind when my horse lags behind. But when he walks over to the rail and takes a bite of my hot dog, that's going a little too far. You think so?
So you learned your lesson, eh?
Yes, sir. The next horse I bet on will have to have a diesel engine in him.
Say, what are you fellas talking about?
Oh, nothing much, Don.
Is it important?
No.
Well, Jell-O is. Ladies and gentlemen, when you are considering a tempting dessert to top off your meal, decide on Jell-O because it has that new extra-rich fresh fruit flavor, and it tastes twice as good as ever before. Hooray for Rosemont!
Yes, with the big red letters on the jockey. Say, what is this, a racetrack or a program? Oh, come in.
Hello, Jick Barney?
Yes, what can I do for you?
Well, pardon the interruption, Pooksy, but I'm a detective.
A detective, eh?
You said it. A bloodhound with a dialect.
Well, what do you want?
I'm under the impression that you lost a violin. Is this correct?
A violin, yes. Did you find it?
Did you offer a reward?
Yes.
Then I found it. Here you are.
Well. Hey, fellas, look. My violin.
Jack,
What do you know? Say, it sure is my violin, all right. Say, fellas, I knew I'd get it back tonight. Virtue triumph.
Then you're going to play the bee, eh?
Am I? Listen, fellas, this is the night of nights. Not only will I redeem myself in the eyes of my listeners, but I'll make Fred Allen hang his head so low he'll have to get an extra shoe for his nose. And it won't be any size 2 either.
Oh, his nose isn't that long, Jack.
It's long enough to reach clear to Hollywood and to my affairs.
Listen, Jack, why don't you forget the bee and play something popular?
Well, what song would you like to hear?
Pennies from Herring.
Herring? That's heaven.
You're telling me. Well, Mr. Benny, to put it bluntly, how's about the compensation?
Oh, yes, the reward. Here you are, my good man. A nice, new, green, crisp, crinkly $1 bill.
Adjectives he gives me.
Oh, you don't want it, eh?
Don't jump at conclusions.
Well, it's all you're going to get, $1. Here.
Thank you. I'll put it in my wallet.
That's a nice wallet. I thought it was your chest. Well, goodbye, Mr. Say, what's your name?
That I can tell you.
Why not?
There's a reward for me, too.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, goodbye.
Goodbye. What a chiseler. Fred Allen is right.
Well, boys, it cost me $1 to get my violin back, but it was worth every penny of it. Oh, Kenny, how about singing your song while I get all set for my number?
Okay, Jack. Are you really going to play the bee?
Am I going to play the bee? Did Columbus turn back in the middle of the Atlantic?
I don't know.
Did Washington hesitate before crossing the Delaware?
I don't know.
Did Admiral Dewey retreat at Manila?
3 strikes, I'm out.
Then sing, Danny. I'm going to play the bee.
Proper and polite upon this lovely night, we sit here making foolish conversation. Instead of being bright, let's be ourselves tonight and take advantage of the situation. So beautiful here among the shadows, beautiful lady, open your heart. The scene is set, the breezes sing of it, and you get into the swing of it, lady. When do we start? When the lady is kissable and the evening is cool, any dream is permissible in the heart
singing, The Night is Young and You're So Beautiful. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment has arrived. The moment when I will erase all verbal stains and oral blemishes from the once illustrious name of Jack Benny. Of course, after concluding my selection to be, Mr. Allen, who even thinks that wrestling is crooked, will no doubt accuse me of trickery. To nip such a possibility in the bud, I will pass through our studio audience, and you folks can observe for yourselves that I have only a violin in one hand and a bow in the other.
Attaboy, Jack.
Quiet, I wouldn't trust you either. I further wish to state that there is nothing hidden up my sleeve and no accomplices, either mechanical or human, in this auditorium. Now for my first solo, come in.
Hello, Buck.
Well, hi, Andy. Hey, you got here just in time.
Yep, and when I heard that you got your fiddle back, I ran up here as fast as I could.
Well, that was nice of you.
Say, Buck, I was sure surprised when I heard Mary went to New York.
Yeah, she left last week for a short vacation.
Doggone it, I'm sorry I missed her. I wanted to kiss her goodbye.
Well, Andy, you can kiss her when she gets back.
Yeah, she'll be rested up then and can take it.
One thing I like about you, Andy, you don't brag.
What's that?
That's Kenny's girl, Lena. I know you thought it was the radiator. Lena, you know Andy Devine.
Oh, sure, the man that talks like Donald Duck.
Donald Duck, that's pretty good. Huh?
Well, we're doing all right. We're both in pictures.
Yeah. Well, Andy, I'm glad you came up to the studio tonight. You know, you're going to hear me play the bee and make out a fool out of that town hall Sandman. And you know what the Sandman does.
Yeah.
Did you hear him last Wednesday when he said a buzzard brought me instead of a stork?
A buzzard?
Yeah.
Oh, doggone it, I thought he said blizzard. Now I got to get mad all over again.
Why don't I get funny lines like that?
Why don't I get any lines?
Please, fellows. Well, the time is growing short. My fingers are just itching to wander over those violin strings, so let's get going. Andy, you sit right down in front and enjoy yourself.
Okay, Buck, can I applaud now in case I fall asleep?
Now, I'll have to take that chance, Andy. And now, ladies and gentlemen, before going into my number, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you the man who will share my glory tonight. My accompanist, that eminent pianist, Rachmaninoff T. Smith. Take a bow, Mr. Smith.
Thank you. And my price is still $10.
Oh. I tried to get him for 8, folks, but he's got me in a spot. Well, hand me that violin, Kenny.
Here you are, Jack.
I'll even take that line.
Hey, what's the matter with you, Phil?
Well, I want to be an actor.
Well, you're on the wrong program.
With my talent, yes.
Well... Well, it's pretty good for an old violin, isn't it? Huh?
So you're really going to play the bee this time, eh, Jack?
Don, I can't get out of it. I'm raring to go. Come on, introduce me, and remember that Jello isn't playing this number. Wait till I tune up. Just...
Sounds pretty good
Okay.
from here. All right? Okay, Jack. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jack Benny will now play Schubert's immortal classic, The Bee.
If you please, Professor. right, fellas. It was nothing at all. Well, what now, Mr. Allen? Play, Phil. I did. You were in a tough spot. That was Panamania from Swing High, Swing Low, played by Phil Harris and his orchestra. And very good, Phil, very good. Not a classic, perhaps, but quite well done.
Say, Jack.
Yes, Kenny?
When are you going to play the B?
I just played it.
Yeah, but you clipped its wings.
Why, what do you mean?
Well, when you came to the hard part, you switched to Plenty of Money and You.
Well, there was a detour sign on my music. And furthermore, Phil, you've been acting a bit uppity lately. Are you dissatisfied with your job here? Are you unhappy in our little group? I mean, are you seeking greener pastures?
No. Greener money.
Oh. Well, let me tell you something, Phil. Oh, excuse me a minute. There's the phone. Keep the argument going, Kenny.
Now, listen, Phil, who do you think I am?
Now, never mind, Kenny. I'll pick up the argument later. Never mind. Don't bother. Hello? Hello? Oh, hello, Mary. How are you, honey? It's Mary, fellas. You did? Well, I'm glad you liked it. I played it the best I could. Of course, right in the middle of the number, I found out one of my strings was dental floss. It was all right. I just had dinner. Are you having a good time in New York? Well, I do, too, but I don't see how I can get away from here. Well, anyway, Mary, have a good time and come back soon. Yeah. Yeah, everybody sends their love. Yes, I will. Yeah. Yeah, goodbye, dear. Goodbye. Hello? What's that, operator? Yes, I'll accept the charges. Yes. You know, fellas, gee, it must be nice in New York right now. Gee, after talking to Mary, I'd love to go there for a couple of weeks.
So would I.
Me, too.
You know, Buck, I've never been to New York.
Well, don't cry, Andy. You haven't?
No.
Well, you... That last one was a laugh, wasn't it? Well, Andy, you get a big kick out of it. No, really, you would. You'd love it. You know, you could take a subway and see the whole town. You know. Hey, wait a minute, fellas. You know, Wait a minute, I got an idea. Listen, get away from the microphone, fellas. I don't want Mary to hear this. You know what I'd like to do? Now, wait a minute. Stuff up. Get away from the mic. I'd like to surprise Mary, hop on a train, and join her in New York.
New York?
Quiet, Tom, stuff up those microphones.
Okay, Jack.
Now, wait a minute. Can everybody make the trip?
I can.
It's okay with me.
How about you, Phil?
Well, I'll have to join you later.
Shall I take my trainer along?
No, Andy, they have hotels in New York. 2 of them. Now, wait a minute. Listen, we'll arrange this right away. I'll call up the station now and make our reservations. And, Don, while I'm ordering the tickets, you make a lot of noise about Jell-O or anything, but make it loud. I don't want Mary to hear this.
Right, Jack, right.
Go ahead. Hello? Operator, get me the... Go ahead, Don.
I'm glad to have this opportunity to tell you about Jell-O, the fastest-selling gelatin dessert on the market.
Hello, ticket
today.
office?
It is first in favor
This is
because
Jack
it's first
Benny.
in
I want to
flavor,
reserve
and it comes
6
in 6
tickets leaving
delicious
Tuesday
flavors:
night for New York.
strawberry, raspberry, cherry,
Yeah, one
orange,
drawing room,
lemon,
2
and lime.
compartments, and
So
2
be sure to
loaves.
ask for Jell-O by name.
Yes,
Look
round
for
for
the big
tickets.
red
We'll be
letters
coming
on the box.
What? No, not 6 delicious flavors, 6 tickets. No, the name is not Raspberry, it's Jack Berry. I mean, Jack Benny. Yeah, that's it. Okay, thank you. Goodbye. Well, fellas, it's all set. Oh, boy, I could just see the look on Mary's face when we popped in on her. I can hardly wait. I'm going right home now and pack. Are you going to take your trunk, Kenny?
No, my trunk's been to New York.
Well, then don't bother. Oh, boy, just imagine that. 2 weeks in New York. Broadway.
Times Square.
Columbus Circle.
Tin Pan Alley.
42nd Street.
Grant's Tomb.
Playing pit.
Everybody loves parties, and here's a party dessert that you can serve every day. It looks mighty festive, and it's no trouble to prepare because it's another delicious dessert that's made with Jell-O. It's called Strawberry Snow, and this is how you make it. Dissolve 1 package of strawberry Jell-O in 1 pint of hot water. Then chill until cold and syrupy and place in a bowl of ice or ice water. Add 1 egg white and whip with a rotary egg beater until fluffy. Mold or pile in sherbet glasses and chill. It's a feast for the eye, a treat for the taste, with tempting true fruit flavor to please everybody. So give everyday dinners a party touch. Have strawberry snow for dessert one night this week, but be sure you make it with the real thing. Genuine Jell-O with the extra rich, fresh fruit flavor. Look for the big red letters on the box. They spell Jell-O.
This is the last number of the 22nd program in the new Jell-O series, and we'll be with you again next Sunday night at the same time, broadcasting from New York City. The detective on the program was played by Patsy Flick, through the courtesy of Warner Brothers.
Say, Jack, why can't we leave for New York right now?
No, we'll have to wait till Tuesday night because I'm dropping in on Ben Burney's program first.
Well, why are you still whispering?
I want to surprise Ben, too. Good night, folks.
Jell-O.
The tune was Plenty of Money in Use from the Gold Diggers of 1937. The Night is Young and You Are So Beautiful from Casa Manana. And I've Got My Love to Keep Me Warm from Irving Berlin's score of On the Avenue. This program has come to you from Hollywood, California, through the facilities of the Red Network of the National Broadcasting Company.
KFI Los Angeles.
Mickey, what's that noise?
I don't know. Sounds like a bee.
A bee?
Hello, Ben.
Well, Jack Benny.
Thank you, Yowza.
Well, Jack, I'm sure glad to see you.
Ben, I'm leaving for New York tonight, and on my way to the station, thought I'd drop in and say goodbye.
Goodbye. That was Jack Benny, ladies and
Hey,
gentlemen.
wait a minute. I'm not through yet.
To tell you the truth, Jack, your trip is no surprise to me. I knew you were leaving town.
You did? How?
I heard you play the Bee Sunday night. I always knew you were a bad musician, but I never thought you were a coward.
Well, my friend, I guess you heard some real violin playing Sunday night, eh, Ben?
I hope to tell you, Yehuda Menuhin was never better.
Wait a minute. Yehuda Menuhin, who's he?
Why, he's one of our greatest living violinists.
I thought I heard an echo while I was playing.
What did he, What did he play?
Why, Brahms Concerto, Chopin Nocturne, and Mozart's Sonata in G minor.
Yeah, what pictures are they from? Anyway, Ben, I really came up here to return the visit and cigars you gave me on my birthday.
Oh, those cigars. Have you given up smoking?
That particular brand, yes. Although, Ben, I would like to take just one of your cigars back to New York.
Why?
I'd like to have it see Tobacco Road.
Well, what's the matter with him, Jack?
Ben, I wouldn't give a cigar like that to Fred Allen.
Well, Jack, you know, I envy you your trip to New York. I hope you have a good time.
Thanks, Ben. And incidentally, you haven't got a suitcase I could borrow, have you?
Why, what did you do with that suitcase I loaned you last year?
Oh, I've got that one packed.
Going Hollywood, huh? A bigger wardrobe, eh? Wouldn't you like to borrow a trunk?
Yes, if you have a curved one. See, my trousers are a little baggy at the knees. Well, Ben... No, that didn't deserve that laugh. I don't know. Well, Ben, I don't want to take up any more of your time. I just dropped in to say hello and goodbye, so I'll be on my way.
Oh, stick around a while, Jack.
No, after all, I'm not getting any compensation for this, you know.
Well, Jack, I didn't exactly get rich on your show 2 weeks ago.
You didn't get any laughs either.
Well, I will tonight, so be careful.
I'll be surprised, too.
Say, Jack, by the way, while you're in New York, I wish you'd do me a favor. Do you mind?
No, Ben. What is it?
I've got an uncle who lives over in Jersey.
Jersey, eh?
Uh-huh. Adayana. Mm-hmm. I wish you'd wire him from New York and tell him that I'm sending that $50 I owe him.
Well, why don't you wire him?
Oh, he'd never believe me.
I see.
Say hello, and while you're in New York, say hello to Phil Baker for me and all the old gang at the Friars Club.
Oh, sure, Ben. I'll say hello to everybody. I'll remember you.
Yeah, and another thing. Remember that little blonde you used to see me with in Lindy's restaurant all the time?
That pretty little dancer?
Yeah, that's her.
Sure, I remember. You want me to say hello to her?
No, just stay away from her, Jack.
Well, that's up to the young lady, Bertie. Anyway, I've got Mary waiting for me in New York. Aren't you, Mary?
No.
Oh, someone's with her, I think.
Say, Jack.
See that salesman she met on the train there.
Yeah. Tell me, Jack, how long are you going to stay in New York?
Oh, just 2 or 3 weeks. I expect to be called back for my next picture at Paramount.
What's it going to be this time?
Oh, it'll probably be a Western. You know, since I've been doing that Buck Benny series. As a matter of fact, I took a screen test yesterday on a horse.
How did it turn out?
Looks pretty good. They signed up the horse immediately. I guess I'll be right behind. You know, Ben, I lost out on one swell picture at Paramount. I was really supposed to play Gary Cooper's part in The Plainsman.
What happened?
Well, while we were arguing about my salary, they made the picture. Glad we put that one in, isn't that, honey? Huh? Say, Ben. Ben, how's your picture coming along?
Well, Jack, it looks pretty good. Of course, I'm not terribly pleased with myself, but after all, what can I do with Winchell for a leading lady?
I can appreciate that. Say, Ben, confidentially, did Winchell get much money for making that picture?
Did he? Why, after every scene, he ran out and bought an annuity.
Oh. Those annuities certainly are great things, aren't they?
They sure are, Jack. Have you got any?
No, I put my money in relatives. Well, Ben, I'm really sorry, but I must rush away. I don't want to miss my train. You know?
Hey, wait a
get
minute,
away
Jack.
tonight.
Wait a minute. You can't. As long as you were so successful playing the bee last Sunday night, how about doing a little number right now?
Oh, no, Ben, I haven't got the time. Anyway, I haven't got my violin with me.
Well, my boys will let you have one. Hey, Mickey, give Jack a violin.
Here you are, Mr. Benny.
Thanks. Hey, wait a minute. This is a trombone.
Well, put strings on it.
Nice boys you've got in your band. Don't you have any discipline?
No, they're all taller than I am.
Oh, okay.
Say, Jack, why don't you use your own violin? You've got the case right there under your arm.
Well, my violin isn't in it, Ben.
Well, what have you got in it?
Sandwiches. You know how crowded those dining cars are.
Well, here, Jack, take half of my violin, take half of my violin, and we'll play a duet.
Thanks. Oh, yes, I forgot you play violin, too, don't you, Ben? Huh?
Oh, yeah, why, I'll play it for $50 and spot you Rubinoff.
All right. What do we play? Oh, it's your line. Let's see, what do we play?
What do we play, Jack?
Oh, I say, I don't care. Well, let's make it, something that would make a nice duet.
Well, how about the Blue Danube?
The Blue Danube, that's okay.
Come on, boys, hit it.
Come in.
Mr. Benny,
Yes?
are you and Mr. Burney going to play the Blue Danube?
Yes, why?
The river, stay away from our radio. Goodbye.
That same guy again. I wish I could get him off my income tax. Well, come on, Ben.
Let's go, boys. I'll start it, Judge. All right. You take it. I got it.
I'll take it this time.
I got it.
I got her, Ben.
I got it. Take it, Jack. Hit it.
Tempo.
Together.
Say, Ben, I passed your house last night.
Thanks for passing.
They'll never believe I played the B now.
Hey, Jack, how'd your taters turn out?
They didn't turn out. Had to dig them up.
Thank you. Oh, Jack, you were great. In fact, you were better than I was.
No, Ben, you were the better. Poor folks, he gave me the smaller half of the fiddle. Well, Ben, I can't stall any longer. I really have to go.
Okay. Well, so long, Jack, and thanks for dropping in.
You're welcome. So long, Ben.
Oh, when you get to New York, give my regards to Fred Allen.
I will, Ben, and don't forget to give mine to Winchell. Goodbye.
Oh, there's a new high for two fiddles. Yowza. Bon voyage, Jackie, old boy, bon voyage. I only hope Chrysler and Heifetz were listening tonight, that's all. And now, Billy Wilson. Bring in to Big Boy Bluey, Willie. Don't worry.